Hello and welcome. This second book follows Luna, who travels back to 1872 alongside her terminally ill friend Sophia to fulfill an obligation involving a buried box. The story explores the stark contrast between 2018 and the Victorian era, highlighting the grueling reality of 19th century life through themes of extreme poverty, infectious diseases, and social rigidness. A central plot point involves the rescue of Rose, a neglected 10-year-old girl, and Luna's emotional struggle over James, her lost child, whom she had to leave behind previously. Ultimately, the story serves as a speculative reflection on the burden of future knowledge and the psychological toll of time travel, and concludes with the characters' return to the modern world and their attempts to reconcile with a mysterious historical legacy. This is part 3 will follow in 2 days' time. I hope you enjoy the voices. I did. If you would like to subscribe and ring that bell, then that would be wonderful. And if you comment, I will read and reply to everybody. Good day.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are doing something a little different. Usually, we look at history through the lens of textbooks, biographies, or, maybe a really well-researched documentary.
Sure, the standard sources.
But today, we are looking at history through the lens of a mistake. A desperate, dangerous, time-bending mistake.
It's a rescue mission that goes wrong in almost every way possible. We're digging into Book 2 of the Chronicles regarding Lena's journeys.
And if you're listening to this thinking, oh, fun, a trip to Victorian London, maybe some tea and crumpets and a nice carriage ride, you need to adjust your expectations.
Oh, immediately, yeah.
Yeah, turn that expectation off right now.
Yeah.
We are talking about February 1872.
Yeah.
And the source material we have in front of us makes it very clear.
It does.
This is not a vacation. It's a visceral, smelly, toxic nightmare.
It really strips away the whole Downton Abbey filter, doesn't it?
Completely.
We have this tendency to romanticize the Victorian era, the fashion, the architecture, but this narrative, it just goes straight for the jugular. It's about the mud, the disease, and the crushing poverty.
Absolutely. We are analyzing a narrative that contrasts two very specific worlds. On one hand, you have the sterile, hyper-medicalized world of late 2018 London.
Right. Chemotherapy, iPads, hermetically sealed hospital rooms, antibiotics.
And on the other, you have the sensory assault of 1872 London.
The coal smoke, horse manure, the smell of unwashed everything.
And stuck right between these two worlds is our protagonist, Luna, and she is, she's not doing well.
No, not at all.
So let's set the stage before we even get to the time machine. Where is Luna's head at in October 2018? She's already been back once, right? This isn't her first rodeo.
She has, in that first trip. It left marks. The source describes her state of mind in October 2018 as being riddled with severe survivor's guilt.
Survivor's guilt, wow.
She's depressed. She's essentially grieving a life she lived in the past, a life she walked away from, while trying to exist in the present.
And what about physically? Because time travel in this universe isn't just a mental trip, it changes you biologically.
Physically, she's an anomaly. The text mentions her acne has completely vanished, which I suppose is the one perk of the process.
A small silver lining, I guess.
A very small one. But she's also dealing with this time traveler's high that has just crashed into a heavy, lethargic depression. She feels disconnected from 2018.
Okay, so she's in a bad place. But the thing driving this entire episode isn't just her mental state. It's a specific, tangible error.
The box.
The tin box.
The tin box. This is the MacGuffin, if you will. Luna realizes she made a critical error in her previous timeline. She needs to bury a specific tin box within a specific garden in Norland Crescent
Okay.
before Tuesday, February 13th, 1872.
Why that date? That seems incredibly specific.
It's a classic butterfly effect scenario. She believes that if that box isn't in the ground by that specific Tuesday, the timeline she currently inhabits, the one where she is safe in 2018, might destabilize or, just cease to exist.
So it's a maintenance job.
It's a maintenance job. She has to go back to patch a hole in the code of reality.
Okay, so she has to go back to fix a timeline glitch. That's the logical motivation. But there's an emotional motivation that is much, much heavier. And honestly, this is the part that drives the urgency.
Hey, Sophia.
Her best friend.
Her best friend who is dying. The source material is brutal here. Sophia's cancer has returned and it's everywhere. Kidneys, lungs, liver.
Yeah.
The 2018 doctors have given her a terminal diagnosis. 6 months, maybe a year. It's aggressive, and it's unstoppable by modern standards.
So you have a woman who can literally travel through time, watching her best friend die of a disease that 2018 science can't fix. And she gets this wild idea.
It's a Hail Mary, born of total desperation. Luna remembers that in 1872, during her first trip, she encountered this mysterious figure, Mr. Quick.
Right, the creature in white.
Also known as the Creature in White, and she saw him cure a man named Simeon of polio.
Which is medically impossible in 1872. Or really medically impossible in that specific way at any time.
Exactly. Polio doesn't have a cure like that. We have vaccines now, but we don't snap our fingers and fix the paralysis instantly. So Luna's logic is, if 2018 science failed us, maybe 1872 magic or whatever Mr. Quick is using can save Sophia.
So they decide to go together. A suicide mission to the past.
Very much.
But this brings us to the logistics. And this is the part of the deep dive I really want to chew on, because the prep work here is fascinating. You don't just walk into a wardrobe and come out in Narnia.
No, you do not.
You have to prepare for the environment like you're going to Mars.
Right. And Luna starts with the intellectual prep. She's on Google in 2018, researching the Haverfield family tree, looking for dates, trying to find out who is alive and who is dead.
Standard stuff.
But then she looks up the Married Women's Property Act of 1870.
Pause there. Why is that specific act important? I feel like that's a detail a lot of people would just skim over.
This is a huge historical detail. Before 1870 in the UK, the legal principle of coverture applied. Essentially, a woman's legal rights were just subsumed by those of her husband.
So any money she had wasn't actually hers.
Not legally. Any money a woman earned or owned legally belonged to her husband or father.
So if they went back to 1869.
If they went back to 1869 with a bag of gold, that gold wouldn't legally be theirs if a man decided to claim it.
Wow.
But if Luna and Sophia are aiming for 1872, they're landing just after the 1870 Act passed. It allowed women to be the legal owners of the money they earned and to inherit property.
It effectively changes them from property to citizens in the eyes of the bank.
That's it. It's a game changer.
That is a crucial detail. It changes the entire feasibility of the trick.
Okay, so they have the legal standing, but they have a much bigger physical problem, the no metal rule.
This is the mechanic that makes this time travel lore unique and incredibly frustrating. You cannot take metal through the portal.
None at all.
None. Zero. And when you stop and think about that, for a modern human, it is a logistical nightmare.
I'm looking at my clothes right now. Zipper on my jeans. Metal buttons, little metal things on the end of my shoelaces. Aglets, yeah. Underwire in bras, eyelets on sneakers, rivets on denim, belt buckles. Almost all modern clothing involves metal. Even the stitching in some high-tech fabrics might have metallic threads.
So what do? Do they go back naked?
They almost have to. But no, they get creative. They have to source period-appropriate clothing that uses drawstrings, bone buttons, or ribbons.
That's a lot of work.
It is. They actually get help from Sora, a maid of a descendant, Camille Haverfield, to stitch them into these dresses. But the clothing is just the start. The bigger issue is money.
Right, you can't take credit cards.
And you can't take coins. Even if you bought authentic 1872 sovereigns from an antique shop, you can't take them back because they are gold or silver. They are metal.
So how do you pay for a hotel in 1872 if you can't bring money? You can't just Venmo the innkeeper.
Oh, pearls. It's biological currency. Calcium carbonate. They buy 12 high-quality pearls insured for 800 pounds each in 2018 money.
That's a lot of money.
A huge amount. The plan is to smuggle these pearls in a velvet Bagno metal clasp on the bag. Mind you, arrive in 1872 and sell them to a jeweler for cash.
That is incredibly clever. Pearls are organic, no metal content.
It's smart, but it's so high risk. You're walking into a high crime era with the equivalent of 10 grand in your pocket, and you have no weapon.
Because weapons are metal.
And no easy way to secure it.
And then there's the medical supplies. Sophia is a terminal cancer patient. She needs painkillers. She needs antibiotics just in case of infection.
And this is where the no metal rule gets really dangerous. Think about how pills are packaged today. Blister packs?
Foil, aluminum backing.
Metal. You can't take the blister pack, so they have to pop every single pill out and decant them into glass bottles or, little paper bags.
Which compromises the sterility and the shelf life of the drugs.
Completely. And for liquids, they use glass bottles of Olbas oil. They pack a plastic trowel, modern plastic, to dig the hole for the box because they can't bring a metal shovel.
So they're smuggling 21st century polymers and pharmaceuticals into the 19th century.
Hoping that the plastic doesn't cause a paradox and hoping the drugs stay potent. It's a fragile plan. It relies on everything going perfectly.
So they have the pearls, the plastic trowel, the loose pills, and the dresses. They head to Temple Gardens. This is the jump point.
They meet Mr. Quick, and the transition is described beautifully in the text. It's not a wormhole with flashing lights. It's a sensory shift. The roar of 2018 London traffic, the sirens, the engines, the constant hum of the city, it just cuts out.
Silence.
Absolute silence. And then the smell hits them.
We need to talk about the smell.
Yeah.
Because we romanticize this era. We think of lavender and old books and rain on cobblestones.
No. 1872, London smelled of unwashed bodies, rotting garbage, horse manure, thousands of tons of it on the streets every single day, and coal smoke. The air was thick with sulfur.
Ugh.
It's a physical assault on modern lungs. The text says it smells like a campfire made of trash.
And the first thing that goes wrong.
It's raining.
Classic London.
But they forgot umbrellas. Or bumbershoots, as the porter calls them. And in 1872, rain isn't just water. It's passing through a layer of coal smog. It's essentially dilute acid rain.
So it's wordy.
It's filthy. It stains your clothes gray.
So they are wet, cold, and breathing in smog. And they are at King's Cross. Now, I want to highlight something here. Lena and Sophia aren't just two healthy adventurers ready to fight off the locals.
Right. This is critical. Luna is an amputee from her previous journey, or at least has significant mobility issues involving a prosthetic leg. And Sophia is a terminal cancer patient who is weak from chemotherapy and the disease itself. They are both on crutches.
Two women on crutches, in expensive-looking dresses, standing in the mud outside a rough train station in 1872. They are targets.
Immediately, they are spotted by a gang of boys, 12-year-olds. And this isn't a playful, artful dodger moment from Oliver Twist. This is a violent mugging.
The reality of Victorian poverty.
It's brutal. The boys attack them. They knock the crutches away. These women are helpless in the mud. And in the chaos, the boys grab the bag. The only bag. The bag with the pearls, the bag with the antibiotics, the bag with the painkillers.
Oh my God. So in the first 10 minutes, they have lost their entire financial lifeline and their medical safety net.
Gone. And it gets worse. During the struggle, Sophia gets stabbed in the arm.
Ooh.
A deep cut from a dirty knife.
So now you have a cancer patient with a compromised immune system suffering a fresh open wound in a city teeming with bacteria, and you just lost the antibiotics.
It is the worst case scenario. It is the absolute worst case scenario. And this sets the tone for the rest of the deep dive. This isn't an adventure anymore. It's a survival horror.
Where do they go? They can't pay for a hotel. They have no pearls.
They end up at a Salvation Army hostel. And this is a fascinating historical cameo. They meet Catherine Booth.
The co-founder of the Salvation Army, the actual Catherine Booth.
The actual historical figure. But the source material doesn't paint this as a warm, fuzzy encounter. It's grim. They are sleeping in a room with the destitute. They are eating watery soup and stale bread. It just highlights the sheer scale of poverty in London at that time.
It's a massive fall from grace. They went from a luxury car in 2018 to a homeless shelter in 1872 in the span of an hour.
And Luna is desperate. She knows she needs help. She knows she has allies in this time, but she has to find them. She sends word to Simeon Haverfield.
Simeon, the man Mr. Quick cured in the previous book.
Right. He's running a flower and seed shop in Railway Terminus. Luna manages to get a message to him. And when they finally reconnect, we hit the section of the book that made my brain hurt.
The paradox.
The timeline anomaly. This is where the physics of this universe get really, really interesting.
Okay, let's break this down slowly, because I had to read this part of the source material twice to really get it. Luna and Sophia intended to jump back to February 6, 1872.
Which they did. They arrived on the correct date. No problem there.
Okay, so what's the problem?
The problem is duration. To Luna, she's been away from 1872 for a while, living her life in 2018. But to Simeon and Polly, the people living in 1872, Luna has been gone for a year.
Wait, so the timelines are desynced?
It seems that way, but it's worse than that. Simeon looks at Luna, our narrator, with total confusion, because he tells her that she's already here.
The two Lunas problem.
Exactly. There is a pregnant Luna living at the Hutton house in Norland Crescent. She is living through the events that our narrator Luna remembers from her first trip.
So, narrator Luna, let's call her Luna 2, is standing in the flower shop.
Right.
And past Luna 1 is sitting in a fancy house a few miles away, pregnant.
Yes, and they exist simultaneously. This isn't a multiverse where they are in different dimensions. They are in the same city, breathing the same polluted air.
How does the universe not just collapse? Usually in sci-fi, if you touch your past self, boom.
This source material treats time differently. It treats it like layers of acetate, you know? You can stack them. Horatio, who's the father of the baby and Luna's husband in this time, is actually visiting both of them.
That's incredibly awkward for him.
It's mind-bending. He visits his pregnant wife at the house, then he comes to the shop to talk to the future version of her who has returned. He asks Luna, too, why are you here if you are also at the house? And she basically has to say, I messed up the math.
It's a clerical error that fractured reality. But this leads to the moment that really broke me emotionally. Luna 2 meets the baby.
Themes.
Now explain this. Luna 1 is pregnant with James, but Luna 2 is meeting 11-month-old James.
Yes, because relative to Simeon and Polly, time has moved forward differently for them. In their house, living with them is a baby, James. Luna 2 gave this baby up in her past. Now she sees him, she holds him.
And she snaps.
The text calls it a simpler state. I think it's a dissociative break. Her brain cannot process the paradox. It can't process, I am pregnant with this child and I'm holding this child and I am from 2018. So her mind just reboots.
It reboots.
She forgets 2018. She forgets Sophia. She forgets the mission. She just becomes a mother in 1872.
That is terrifying.
Yeah.
She just deletes the upgrade.
It's a defense mechanism. She sheds the trauma of the time travel and reverts to the one thing that makes sense to her brain in that moment, maternal instinct.
Meanwhile, poor Sophia is sitting there with a stabbed, infected arm, watching her only friend lose her mind.
It falls on Sophia, who is dying, remember, to keep them grounded. To remind Luna, we are not from here. We have a mission.
The mission, burying the box.
Right. They have to snap out of it because the clock is ticking. Tuesday the 13th is coming.
But burying the box is almost the easy part, isn't it?
Yeah.
They have the plastic trowel. They just need to get to the garden.
They do. They sneak into the garden at Norland Crescent, where the other Luna is living, and they bury the box. Mission accomplished.
The loop is closed.
The timeline is safe.
But while a sci-fi mission is a success, the human mission is falling apart. I want to circle back to the environment of the flower shop. You mentioned Simeon runs a flower shop, which sounds lovely.
It sounds lovely, but the source makes a point of what's behind it.
Which is?
A glue factory. Oh, yes. And in 1872, glue was made by boiling down animal connective tissue. Horses, cats, dogs, any stray animal they could find.
Good.
The source text describes carts filled with dead dogs and cats in various stages of decay rolling past the window. And the smell. It's described as one humongous toilet.
And they are breathing this.
Day and night, they are vomiting from the stench. And this is important because it foreshadows the medical issues later. They aren't just smelling bad air, they are inhaling particulate matter, biological waste, and chemicals used to break down the carcasses. It's a toxic soup.
Which brings us back to Sophia's wound. She was stabbed with a dirty knife. She's living next to a glue factory. She has no antibiotics.
It's a recipe for sepsis. It's an inevitability. And that's exactly what happens. The wound gets infected, her arm swells up, she gets a fever.
And they try to find help.
Yeah.
But they can't just go to a modern ER. They have to deal with Victorian medicine.
Or Victorian folk medicine, which is even worse.
Yeah.
They meet Mrs. Watson. The locals call her Old Icy Fingers.
That's a comforting nickname.
She's a nightmare. She's a local healer, but the text implies she's more of a scavenger. She skins cats for their fur, which connects to the glue factory theme, and she offers remedies that are essentially useless or dangerous. She wants to put a poultice of, I think it was bread mold and spider webs on the wound.
No.
Yes, and Luna, with her 21st century knowledge, takes one look at her and kicks her out.
Because Luna knows what germs are. Mrs. Watson probably thinks the sickness is caused by miasma or bad humor.
Exactly. It's a clash of paradigms. Luna is trying to explain sterile fields and bacteria to people who think washing your hands is optional.
Horatio tries to help, though. He brings a real doctor.
He does. He brings a proper doctor. But by then, the infection has spread to the blood. It's systemic. And without penicillin, which won't be discovered for another 50-plus years, there is nothing a Victorian doctor can do but offer morphine and prayers.
This leads to the climax of the tragedy, the absolute desperation move. They decide to go back to the source,
Mr. Quick.
back to the time portal.
It's the last roll of the dice. Horatio loads Luna, the dying Sophia, and the orphan girl Rose, we'll get to her, into a cab. They drive to Temple Gardens in a rainstorm.
They summon him. He stops time.
He appears, and Luna begs him. She says, "You cured Simeon of polio. Cure her, please."
And he refuses.
Flat out refuses. He says, "I cannot help you. The dead must remain where they are."
That is such a cold line. What does he mean? Sophia isn't dead yet.
I think he means that her death is a fixed point in time. Or perhaps that she belongs to death now, that her fate is sealed. Unlike Simeon, whose survival was necessary for the timeline, maybe Sophia's death is required.
That's a chilling thought, that the universe needs her to die for some reason.
And he just vanishes. He leaves them in the rain. And on the ride back to King's Cross, in the back of that cab, Sophia passes away. It's
a total subversion of the genre. Usually you go back, you fix the mistake, you save the friend, you're the hero.
And here, you go back, you lose the money, you get mugged, you fix the mistake, but you lose the friend. It emphasizes that the past isn't a playground. It's a machine that grinds people up.
So now, they have a body. In 1872. You can't just call a hearse from your phone?
No. They have to arrange a Victorian funeral. And the source material spends a lot of time on this, which I find really interesting. It highlights the business of death.
They go to a funeral director, a Mr. Peabody.
Who I assume is a cheerful fellow.
He has a miniature coffin in his shop window. It's incredibly macabre. But it's also a display of the pageantry of the era. The Victorians really went all out for death, didn't they?
Oh, they did. Simeon and Horatio handle the costs. They hire professional mourning clothes, black crepe, veils. Luna notes the stark contrast to modern funerals. There's an open coffin with candles. She sees Sophia and notes that she looks like she belongs in the era now.
That's haunting.
It is.
It's interesting because earlier Luna was complaining about the filth and the smell. But here, does she find some beauty in it, in the ritual?
She finds respect. That's the key observation. As the hearse with the black horses and the black plumes moves through the streets, strangers stop. Men on the street actually remove their hats as the hearse passes.
In 2018, people would just honk their horns or look at their phones.
Exactly. Luna has this moment where she feels that while 2018 has better medicine, 1872 has better mourning. They respect the transition from life to death in a way we've maybe lost.
And she's buried at St. Andrew's Church, under her own name.
Yes, Sophia Hindmarsh. And Luna realizes something profound here. She now has a permanent physical link to the past, a real tangible connection. She can go visit that grave in 2018. Sophia is part of history now.
We need to talk about Rose. She's been in the background of this discussion, but she's central to the emotional arc in the ending.
Rose is a 10-year-old street orphan. They call her Crawley because of the lice.
Yep.
She was taken in by Polly. She bonded deeply with Sophia while Sophia was sick, sort of became her little nursemaid. And now Luna is faced with a massive ethical dilemma. She's leaving 1872. What does she do with Rose? Does she leave her behind?
In a world of workhouses, chimney sweeping, and glue factories.
Exactly. Rose has no parents, no future, really. And Sophia's dying wish was for Luna to look after Rose. So Luna decides to take the risk. She decides to try and take Rose through the time portal to 2018.
Which is a huge gamble. Mr. Quick wouldn't save Sophia. Why would he let a Victorian child travel to the future? That seems like a massive violation of the timeline.
Luna doesn't know if it will work. She has no idea. But the pressure is mounting to leave. Mrs. Cook, a servant, warns them that the witch, Mrs. Watson, has betrayed them.
Old icy fingers.
The very same. She's told the wealthy Mrs. Hutton about Luna, the other Luna, and the baby, to claim a reward. The police are imminent.
So it's a chase scene now.
It is. Luna has to say this heartbreaking goodbye to baby James, her son in this time, leaving him with Polly and Simeon. They rush to Temple Gardens in a carriage with Horatio.
And the transition. Does it work?
Luna holds Rose tight. They step into the mist, and it works. The sensory shift happens again, the silence breaks, and suddenly there's the roar of modern traffic, clean air, paved roads. They are in 2018.
But Luna doesn't just walk away and grab a coffee.
No. The physical toll of the journey, or perhaps the accumulation of all those toxins, it hits her. She collapses into a coma almost immediately after calling for a pickup.
This leads to the medical aftermath, which I found fascinating because it brings hard science into this fantasy narrative.
It does. Luna wakes up on Christmas Day, 2018, at St. Thomas's Hospital. She's been out for weeks, and the doctors are baffled. They've done forensic testing on her hair, her blood, her organs.
And what do they find?
A toxic overload. Massive, almost unbelievable levels of lead, arsenic, aluminum, potassium, and asbestos.
The chemical signature of Victorian London.
Exactly. Let's break that down. Lead from the pipes and the paint. Arsenic from the wallpaper and fabric dyes. That famous Victorian green dye was loaded with arsenic. Asbestos from early insulation. Coal dust in the lungs. It's all there.
To the doctors, this is impossible. You don't get that kind of exposure in modern London unless you're working in a toxic waste dump without protection.
Right. It's physical, scientific evidence that she was in a heavily polluted environment for an extended period. It validates her story scientifically.
But her parents, her father's a surgeon, right?
Yeah.
They don't buy the time travel story, even with the arsenic poisoning.
They absolutely refuse to believe it. They see the physical evidence, but their rational, scientific minds interpret it as a mental breakdown or psychosis. They think she's been living in a squad or taking drugs.
That's unbelievable.
So they have her committed to a secure mental facility.
Which is just tragic. She's lived this incredible traumatic life, lost her best friend, and her reward is being locked up because the truth is too impossible for people to accept.
And they refuse to exhume Sophia's body to check the DNA, which would prove everything. They just want to fix Luna.
But there's one person, well, one anomaly that proves she's not crazy.
Rose.
Rose
is the living proof. She adapts shockingly well to 2018. She's living with Camille Haverfield, the descendant. The source says she learns to use an iPad instantly. She calls it a black mirror.
Which is funny considering the TV show. But physically, how does she change?
She transforms. Clean hair, healthy skin, she's well-fed, the lice are gone, she's thriving, she's a completely different child.
But then, the twist.
Yeah.
The photograph.
This is the moment that gave me chills. Sora, the maid, shows Luna a new antique photograph that suddenly appeared on the piano. She swears it wasn't there before they left.
A new old photograph.
Exactly. What's in the picture?
It's an image of an elderly woman dated 1912. The inscription on the back reads, Rose Haverfield Schoolmistress.
Okay.
1912. That's 40 years after 1872. But Rose is a 10-year-old girl in 2018 now.
Exactly. The implication is staggering. It suggests one of two things. Either Rose eventually returns to the past to live out her life, becoming a schoolmistress and creating a closed loop. Or the timeline has shifted to include her history as a Haverfield because Luna brought her to the future, gave her an education, and maybe sent her back at some point.
Wait, so if the photo exists, it means she has to go back. Her future's already written.
That's the deterministic view, isn't it? Mr. Quick led her through the portal because he knew she needed a 21st century education to become the woman in the photograph in 1912.
That makes Mr. Quick sound incredibly manipulative. He's not saving a child. He's moving a chess piece across the board.
He's playing a game that spans centuries. He doesn't care about individual suffering. He cares about the board state. He sacrificed Sophia, but he saved Rose because Rose was a necessary part of the pattern.
And finally, they visit the grave.
In 2018, Luna and Rose drive to St. Andrew's Church in a BMW, which must have been a trip for Rose. They find Sophia's grave. It's neglected, overgrown, but it's there.
And Rose says something.
She says something chillingly pragmatic. She's not sad. She's practical. She looks at Luna and says, "We can go back and see her. Rescue her. I know it can be done."
She wants to go back and save Sophia before she dies.
That's the implication. But Luna refuses. She is terrified. She is broken by the experience. She knows the cost now. She knows Mr. Quick's rules.
But the photo.
Mm-hmm.
The photo suggests Rose does go back eventually. Maybe not today, maybe not with Luna, but eventually.
That's the open loop. Luna says no now. But what about in 10 years? What if Rose decides to go back herself when she's older? The photo implies a destiny that hasn't happened yet.
But has already happened.
Time travel grammar is the worst.
Hasn't happened yet in her personal timeline, but has already happened in history.
Right. It leaves the door wide open for book 3.
It really does.
So let's zoom out. What does this deep dive tell us? What's the takeaway?
For me, it's the cost of knowledge. Luna knew the future, Simeon's success, the wars, but it didn't make her happy. It just isolated her. She knew she could save Sophia in theory, but reality crushed that hope. It's a story about the limitations of power.
Yeah.
Even with the time machines, you can't fix everything.
And you can't outrun death.
No. The dead must remain where they are.
Pretty bleak lesson.
Well, that is a cheerful thought to end on.
Yeah.
But seriously, this deep dive has been incredible. The texture of 1872, the smell of the glue factory, the tragedy of the lost antibiotics, it makes the story feel so grounded.
It's a reminder that history isn't just dates and kings. It's smells and sickness and people just trying to survive.
And sometimes burying a plastic trowel in a garden in Norland Crescent.
To close the loop.
To close the loop. Thank you for listening to this deep dive into Book 2. It's been a wild ride through the smog of Victorian London.
And the sterile corridors of St. Thomas's.
We'll be back next time to see if Rose ever makes it back to become that schoolmistress. Yeah. Until then, watch out for the bumbershoots.
And check your pockets for metal.
Okay.